Some of us had actually stepped out for a health break. Feel free, do your thing. You'll come back and join us in the conversation. I can see people like Stephen. You're writing your comment on WhatsApp. Stano, you say you don't think that there will be any positive changes, even if there will be more and more dialogues with this government, particularly at this moment. Harry from Tinderet says, if our leaders could have been killed by the former states, who could have been leading this grateful nation? Harry, I'm not sure I get your point, but thank you. Edwin from Embakasi says, the irony is sitting down with somebody who's not ready to implement anything from any discussion. We only want a fresh bunch of leaders who are willing and ready to do the impossible, and that is to change the system. That's Edwin from Embakasi. Keep the comments coming. The WhatsApp number is on your screen. We will be sampling them in a moment. I know there's some rebuttals on this end, but the temperature on this side was a little high. There was a gentleman back there who was supposed to speak but never got a chance to. As you find a mic, please give us your comment. Quickly, please.
Thank you. First of all, the greatest misunderstanding is that the president thinks we are small children.
Your mic is off, sir. Your mic is off.
Thank you.
Yes.
First of all, the greatest misunderstanding is that the president thinks that we are small children and do not understand what he is saying. We tried to dialogue with the president after June 24th, and we told him to fire his cabinet and bring us a new cabinet, only to surprise us and bring the one who caused us to strike more as our leader, Murkomen, as the youth leader. Number two, we told him that SHA is not working and the funding model, it is not working. The president only to keep pressing on it till to date. We tried a dialogue, but it refused. We are having a president who is not ready to listen. And now we are the people who are not ready to tell him anything other than to go home. So there is one thing I would like to say for those people who are saying why we are going to the street and we don't want dialogue. The president sat down with Honorable or Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and they made a 10-point agenda that they have not even met one today. And they want us now to sit again with them to make other agendas that they will not meet. Then why should we be sitting down to make things that are not working?
All right.
So we are not ready for that, and we are not supporting dialogue. If we are going to support dialogue, we will support in this manner. Let them call Ojuang, they dialogue with him. Let them call all the people that they have murdered.
Rex Masai
And all those. When they dialogue and come to an agreement, we will support that dialogue. But kama ni sisi tuko hai, ni kama itakuwa ngumu kidogo.
All right, all right. What about you, sir? What's your good name? Where are you from? And what's your point? Quickly, please.
Thank you very much. My name is Samuel Mark Owia. I'm the current president of the Kenya School of Law. I understand the mood in the house is very heated and people are very emotive. I'll not approach the discussion from that point of view, and I will try to be as reasonable as I can. And this is the point, especially on the issue at hand right now, on dialogue. And I can tell you that dialogue is the greatest tool that people can use to make progress. And that is approach of nonviolence. For a state to make progress, or for a people to achieve certain things, there are those of the violent or the revolutionaries. And then there are those within the revolution who will approach to sit in the table. I know people have discussed that, and even the approach of the struggle for independence. There was those who were in the forest, the Mau Mau, and there were those who will attend the conferences from the Lancaster. And this is not my view to support dialogue with the state at hand. And people should not misinterpret it. I'm getting to that point. I'm trying to build on that particular point. The reason as to why the young people are disinterested with dialogue with President Ruto is not because dialogue is wrong. Dialogue is the best thing that we can have. But why is it that at this particular point we do not want dialogue, or we see that dialogue will not result? What has dialogue resulted to in the previous occasions within this country and in the status of affairs? We know the issue of NADCO has not been implemented. The issue of 10 points agenda has not been implemented. We know, if we take it from the point of Raila Odinga and the dialoguing with states, we know appointments have come out. My biggest concern to the country is the issue of unemployment. You call the youth to the table to discuss and dialogue. Are we going to leave that table with 15 million jobs for the young people? That is the question that we are going to ask ourselves. Or we are going to appoint 5 or 10 of us to that table, then you buy them and give them some positions or give them some allowances, and then it goes down like that. Unemployment is currently the biggest reason as to why the young people are on the streets. I know the president is trying. They're struggling. Today, the public service has issued 4,000 jobs for the young people within various sectors. But this is just within the construction. I've had the privilege to sit in certain meetings where I know and understand, and the president is struggling. Perhaps might not be everyone knowing that. I know because I've sat down with the PS, and I know how they're trying to find how to create jobs for the young people. In that meeting, I was trying to find out to create 500,000 jobs for the young people. But that can only, it's not sustainable. We want sustainable jobs. We don't want to go to the streets and clean up the mtaro, and then that is it. We don't want to go to carry certain things in the construction site. That is not sustainable things. People are degree holders. People have graduated. Okay. And that is the issue. So the dialogue point of it is that the nation, the country, right now views the state as with great dishonesty. There is great dishonesty that we might not sit down in that particular table and have equity. So that is the problem of the young people.
All right. Let's hear from you before we shift. The gentleman, we'll come back, I assure you. We'll come back, I promise you. The gentleman behind you has the opportunity. Yes, please, quick.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Bill Ilia. I happen to be the Moot Court president at Mount Kenya University, Parklands Law Campus.
Karibu.
So, with me is the self-proclaimed advocate of the Small Claim Court. So I'd like to say that firstly, being a student leader in his school, I am somewhat disappointed because, but I can't go on and force him to get out of the school. So the same way I can't force him to go out of the school because we have differences in ideologies, is not the same way that you should come and force me into saying that we have to have a dialogue, and then when I disagree with it, you start bantering and throwing jabs at me. So for the issue of dialogue, the youth, normally, we have an habit of looking for problems and solving the problems. That is why during independence, I look at the guys that were there at the time, they were the youths that fought for independence. That is why James Orengo and Saba Saba went to the streets. They were the youth fighting for democracy. Currently, it is the youth fighting for accountability and change in the leadership structure that we have. That is the only problem that we have. So we'll be asked, then why are we going to the streets daily? It is as simple as this. The president, in as much as you call him the listening president, he did not listen. He was coerced into conceding to drop the finance bill. He was coerced by the court into letting go of the share of the university funding model. He does not listen. He listens only when it is his last resort as a mechanism. So if it is true that you indeed listen, and then we have a character by the government officials where we see, the greatest weapon that a person has to the oppressor is to control the mind. The problem that we have is joblessness, unemployment. It is the same problem that we see our youths wanting to go down and have a dialogue because they want to be like Samuel, who right now is waiting for a position in the seat. But then this is the same grid. They are copying from the role models that we have in leadership positions. During demonstrations, when we were there in law school, we called Samuel Usain Bolt Makori. He was running from media stations to the others, That is a person who looks at their own stomachs. That is the problem and the rot that our country has. That is a thing that we will be fighting for come 2027. So if Honorable Raila Odinga is a listening president, last year we told him stay at home, he stayed. Right now we are also saying stay at home, please stay. If the president is a listening president, I hope that I'll be safe after this. If you are a listening president, one term. It is as simple as that.
Right.
One term.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's hear from Mulamba. You had actually. Let's start with you. What's your reaction to the ebbs and flows of the conversation that's been coming from this end? There's the talk of dialogue. There's talk of dismissing the same dialogue. Where do you stand on this?
This has been such a heated debate. From where I stand, there must be goodwill before coming to the table to dialogue. And goodwill in the sense that they have already stated, some of them have mentioned some of those things, that for there to be goodwill, there has to be justice for for the fallen heroes. Because right now what we have been seeing is that there is lack of accountability for all the people who were killed during the protests, the June 25th and the Sabasaba, and even last year's June 25th. People are yet to be, there is no prosecution yet or that has concluded, and someone has been charged and sentenced and held accountable for these deaths. No one has been held accountable for the injuries. No one has been held accountable for the goons that have been coming into places, even into hospitals, into offices, into homes. No one is there to be held accountable. And to me, from where I stand, how are you able to dialogue with someone who is killing you, who is threatening your life and your livelihood? And so that goodwill has to be there before we can sit on the table. We need to first see that there is some goodwill from the government.
All right. Mulamba?
Let me start with the dialogues that we've had before and the dialogues we should not have had. There wasn't supposed to be a dialogue in 1963 for the independence of this country, because rightly, how do you dialogue with a colonialist who's taken your land and is taken all the factors of production and is running them on your behalf? What was there to dialogue about? There wasn't supposed to be a dialogue. Well, there wasn't even a dialogue in 1992, because Moi ceded to public pressure and international pressure, and he forced his MPs to repeal Section 2A. That brought us back to multi-party politics, and that introduced the two-term limit for the presidency. There wasn't supposed to be a dialogue in 2007 because Kibaki lost the elections. It is the truth that no one wants to say. And that is possibly the situation that is going to be in this country in 2027. And I hope and fear that is not going to happen. That a president loses an election, and because the president is still the president until he hands over power, decides not to relinquish power. So Kibaki forced this country into a dialogue which should not have happened. Raila Odinga won the elections of 2007. Martha Karua knows this. Kivuitu knows this. And everyone who seriously followed politics in this country knows this. I do not support Raila Odinga at the moment because he's shown us his true colors. But the truth and the fact of the moment is there wasn't supposed to be a dialogue in 2007. And that's why I'm opposing this idea of a dialogue, because we are conveniently shoving this idea. Well, the idea has been brought by Raila Odinga. He's the biggest proponent of this thing, because he wants, this is the idea of President William Ruto too. They want to dissuade the current political outcry. They want to stem the current uprising. The dialogue they are proposing is a structured conversation that is meant to kill the genuine clamor for better governance. The dialogue they want is a mere formality, a cosmetic exercise that pretends and purports to bring order into this country and to resolve the issues we are raising. But in the real sense, they do not want to resolve anything. They want to appear to do something, but not do anything at all. And that's why we are opposed to the idea of a dialogue. We do not need a dialogue to solve corruption. We do not need a dialogue to end police brutality. We do not need a dialogue to curb the wastage of public funds. We do not need a dialogue to put this country on the right pedestal. We do not need a dialogue to enact and to fulfill the Constitution of Kenya. We do not need a dialogue for the same. And that's why we are opposed to this idea, because we know where this dialogue conversation is going. It is going to create and curate a narrative where the public will think that the Gen Zs have been appeased, that we are now comfortable with how government is being run, and that our genuine agitation has been killed, and that now we are comfortable with a Ruto presidency. And that's how they are going to sneak in the two-term narrative. So they are laying groundwork for the 2027 campaigns, and we are opposed to that. And I would also like to respond to Mzee here, who told us that he is afraid for his only son, that he does not want his son to join protests. And to him, the only reason that the Gen Zs are going to the streets is because they are saying they have a right in the Constitution to protest, but probably is listening to the wrong Gen Zs. We have so many reasons to go to the streets. One, we are ensuring that we put a check and a balance to this democracy, the young child we have here, because our democracy is not so old. If we do not exercise our right to protest, and if we do not protest in the first place, we are going to give William Ruto unprecedented control over this country. We are going to breed a dictator. He already is, but he needs more fuel. And if he and his government and his cabinet continue misbehaving and continue the malfeasance we see, and no one says anything about it, we are going to enable a dictator. And the dictator we birth, we will only have ourselves to blame.
All right.
So he's listening to the wrong people. And as I wind up, I have seen and heard some of the disillusioned people, especially in his hedge, saying that we should not go to the streets because we will be shot. Then isn't that blaming the victim here? You're not blaming the police for overreaching. You're not blaming the CS for issuing illegal orders. You're not blaming the oppressor, you're blaming the victim. Is that the route we need to go? And as I wind up, this generation that is of our parents, our fathers and our grandparents have failed us because they had one duty, the duty we have now and the duty we carry so proudly, to check the governments and the regimes that have come before us. And most of them failed us. During the Uhuru regime, when Uhuru was borrowing money left, right, and center, when corruption was the order of the day, their generation was silent. And now they have the guts to lecture us when we've woken them up because they were politically unconscious. So they do not have the moral authority whatsoever to lecture us when they sat down comfortably when Uhuru was stealing and looting this country. We need to ensure that they understand we are on the right trajectory. Come blood, come death, we shall continue fighting.
All right, thank you.
Viva Mulama, viva. I 100% agree with you, my
Which
brother.
part, the unconscious bit or the other?
Everything he has said is so on point. I wanted to respond to this dialogue conversation. I think we already had a dialogue last year.
Yeah.
And it was a dialogue we were already opposed to. In fact, the person who hosted that X space got a lot of backlash from a lot of young people. But Kenya made history as the first country to force their president into that X conversation.
Sure.
And the young people took the mics and they really poured their hearts out to the president. I listened into that X space. People talked about the struggles that they're going through, the struggles that their parents went through to educate them, the daily lived reality of Kenya. People poured their hearts out last year already. As we were fighting against the finance bill, about a month or two ago, Kimani Ichung'wah comes and tells us, by the way, that finance bill that you Kenyans came on the streets to fight, kama hamjui tulipitisha December. Rex Masai died. More than 60 Kenyans died. And then you are coming here to tell us to go and dialogue with those people full of braggadocio and absolute disregard for the people of Kenya. We are not going to have any kind of dialogue. In fact, dialogue is pacification. In 1963, when Kenyatta went to have those Lancaster conversations, he turned against the people of Kenya. He betrayed the Mau Mau revolution. All the fighters that refused to leave the forest without the land, because Kenyatta told the white people, I am president now, you can stay. But why were the people fighting? For land.
For land.
That was the first betrayal of this country that has continued to make us have this inequality that is so massive because of dialogue with the white people that continue to own 60% of our economy even today. So the Kenya Land and Freedom Army was betrayed by none other than one of their own, Jomo Kenyatta, who when we go to history, we are told is the founding father of the nation. And when we come here to this TV station, somebody comes and says, what Raila says, you cannot see when you're sitting down. We want to end this kind of petty personification politics. Let us have a culture of discussing issues that affect our lives directly. Let us have a culture of discussing social justice. So when the Kenya Land and Freedom Army made the demand that we want to be the army of the people, we want to defend our people once Kenyatta becomes president. We want to be the police. Kenya would not be where it is today had Kenyatta listened to the demands of the Kenyan Land and Freedom Army. The colonial force, police force, has continued to kill the natives, to disrespect the native, to subjugate the natives. And this is why we are saying we are now in a neo-colonial state, that this present Kenya very much mirrors that Kenya that our forefathers were fighting for. If you look at our poverty levels, it is very much the same. Our landlessness, it is very much the same. There is not much that has changed if you magnify and have a keen eye. This is why we are saying we are tired, Victor. We are tired, because this is also generational. It is carried in our DNA. The struggle of our ancestors is our struggle today. And we are tired of being a struggling masses in our land of plenty. We are tired of a few people amassing wealth and subjecting us to poverty when we could live in dignity, all of us.
Okay.
We want to put this to an end by birthing a new culture of political leadership that centers the interests of the people of Kenya.
All right, all right. Now, guys, thank you, Wanjira. We have entered a section of our program where we actually needing to close. However, I'm informed that we have some precious minutes. Here's what I want to do. I want to go around the room, and including the room in Mombasa, and I want you to prepare just a few seconds. I will give anyone who has 20 seconds of something to say on this very point. The point of, so what's the Kenya that you want to see on the first day after the leader has been announced in the elections of 2027? That's what you should think about, all right? As you process that, I will give priority to those who have not spoken, and if there's time, we'll be able to go around the room. But prepare that. 20 seconds only. If you exceed, time out, all right? Thank you so much. Chris in Mombasa, would you please give us a parting shot, and maybe you'll be the first to answer this question. From a security perspective, Chris, what would you like to see happen different in Kenya?
Victor, what I'd like to see happen different in Kenya, despite the opinion expressed in this sitting, we must sit down and talk our minds out. We must speak to each other. We must find the structures that are available for us to utilize in talking to each other. We are seeing at the global perspective Ukraine and Russia sitting down to talk, Hamas and Israel sitting down to talk. We have not gotten to that level that we can say with all ultimatums that we cannot talk. We must speak to each other. And the next leader, the next person to take the mantle of leadership, he must drive conversations with this country, and conversations that are result-oriented and correct the thing that we make a mistake the most, implementation. We implement what we've dialogued on. Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, the first person who's going to speak, let's start with him. Prioritize the people who haven't spoken. Who else wants to speak? Please give a mic to, you'll give the mic to the person next to you. Please pass one mic all the way to the back. The two ladies hatujawapata. Naomba mic moja ende kule express, kule nyuma, tafadhali. Alafu wewe ndugu yangu utazungumza pia. Let's start with you, sir. What's your name? What's your point? 20 seconds is all you have.
Okay, my name is Francis Munderu Erimo, an aspiring member of County Assembly Sirikwa Ward in Nakuru County, and I'm also a therapist and a technician.
Okay,
and my point
those are 5 seconds gone.
And my point is, like, we as the youth, what we want to see a president who's following the Constitution, who's making Constitution his friend. And the Gen Zs have said so many times, swali yenye tunakujanga straight ama hapa kwa studio kuuliza president ni moja, vile tulielewana ulifanya, na vile unafanya tulielewana. So tunataka president mwenye ataingia the first day, just take to court those who misused power at their time. And for the youth, we want them to be given the priorities. We want us to be participants, not beneficiaries of the next government or even in this government. And we do not want dialogue.
All right, thank you so much. Sir, I think just go straight to your point.
Yeah, true. Thank you so much. I think this country needs to heal. heal from the very many things that are setting us apart. And it is a high time we talk to each other. It is a high time we sit down and look at the problems we've had. We need a country. We do not have any spare country. This is the only country we have. This is the only country we call home. So let us agree to sit. Let us agree to calm down in all our spheres of life and find a solution to every challenge you're facing. And I believe it can be done if you and I decide to calm down and talk to each other. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Please pass the mic to the back. What's your point? 20 seconds.
Yeah, CP Daniel Kirogo is my name. What I would like to see after we get another president is a truthful person. Because we were here in 2022 when this government was elected, and there are quite a number of issues that this government had said that is going to work on. As an accountant, I usually like working with numbers. And if you check Victor, if you check Victor, 2022, the price of petroleum, it was on 59.12. I'll not go to the other analysis because of time, but right now, we know the price of the fuel, which is at 186.31, an increase of 17%. And you know what has happened over the years? We were told that the price of fuel will go down. You see where we are at the moment.
So you would like a truthful person?
A truthful person who says and keeps his word. The price of unga, you know where we were? We had subsidies, it was removed, so that all of those conversations, I know we don't have time, but let's check where the price is at the moment.
So your focus is on the price. You want to see lower prices all around?
Truthful. The person who tells us is going to take this down.
Thank you.
Is he working? Is he keeping that word?
Thank you, sir. Let's hear from you, madam.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Rahab Rukwaro. I am an accountant by profession.
Okay.
My point is, what I would want to see come 2027, I would want to have peace in the country, and I would also want to see us putting the right leaders in positions accountable as the Gen Zs want.
All right, thank you. The lady next to you, please. Your point, please. 20 seconds. Ladies are so economical. I love it.
What I would like to see coming 2027 is the government cooked by the Gen Zs. I would like to see what the Gen Z shall produce.
Oh, interesting. All right, next to you, madam. All right. Ndugu, 10 seconds.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
I wish coming the next government that we will be in, I need a government that will be constitutionally and democratically led. Secondly, napenda kitu tunasema kusema na kutenda. Say kusema inajifanya.
Na kutema. All right. Let's see. Please say something. 20 seconds.
For me, what I would like to see is justice done for the fallen heroes, accountability for all the actions that this regime has taken against its citizens, and there to be, as she has said, I would also want to see a new crop of leaders who listen and who are truthful.
All right, some of you are going to vie. By a show of hands, how many are going to vie? All right, for all of you who are going to vie, I think you've gotten the challenge. A leader who's accountable, kusema na kutenda. And we are curious, what will be the crop of leadership that will be prepared or produced come that time? We're completely out of time, ladies and gentlemen. We are totally out of time, sir. I'm so sorry. It's 11:30 on the dot. I'm sorry. I am so sorry, sir. But thank you. You know what? We do it every Tuesday. Please come again. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you for joining us, and I appreciate you for your insight. The people at home, Mama Miles, people like Githinji, people like Stephen, and finally, people like Stano. Thank you so much for your feedback. Thank you for choosing us to inform you this evening. My name is Victor Muyakane, and this has been the People's Court. Good night, and God.